Hey guys, my name is Bahle Dlamini and welcome to the channel. If you're a new subscriber, you're so very welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and to tell a friend that Bahle has a channel. Let's get into it. So guys, for our sit down episodes, I've been doing a bit of research, reading, listening to different videos to see what type of information I'd like to share with you guys. And often when we do sit downs, we talk about work or personal things. So in this video, we're going to be giving some advice around workplace etiquette. So I came across an article from Kinsley San, and I hope I'm pronouncing it properly. I'll put it here for credits. But basically, they had some do's and don'ts around workplace etiquette, just to help us think about these things as we navigate. The more we get into our career, the more we learn that different companies operate differently. People are very different. So there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to take in. So this is just my contribution to say these are some of the things that we can think about. So they do have a list of do's and don'ts. I'm just going to give it a bit of a twist and put my interpretation of the different categories that they've put them in. So let's get into it. So the first one they have is don't make assumptions about the way that things work. So often when you quite used to the environment, you can just tell yourself that, oh, things are like this, and that could be a risk to progress. It could be a risk to certain growth opportunities that could be experienced by the organization. So don't assume, always ask questions, always ask how things have changed, how things can change, and it's just a way of developing and improving the work experience, and just having a continuous development within the company or within the work group that you're in. So don't make assumptions, ask questions. If there's a new person or new manager, ask how they look to improve the different processes in the team. So just be very inquisitive and curious about how things work and how things can be improved. And I think the biggest challenge and the biggest deterrent is when people come into or the habit of saying, this is how things work here. And that can be quite damaging to the growth of that team or organization. So ask and contribute to how things can be improved. So they've said, do get to know about the workplace processes and culture. That is very important. And when you're coming into a new organization, yes, there is a value proposition that the organization has put out there that attracts people into that organization. So you're attracted to it, you want to go in, but you never fully understand the culture of an organization until you're in it. And that's when you see whether you're a fit or not. So that's why in my previous episodes, I do talk about the fact that, in as much as you want to go into the organization and you're impressing them, do take the time to think, is this the best organization for me? And unfortunately, you only understand the culture once you're in it. And that's a very important reflection to have. But do understand the processes. You don't want to get yourself into trouble. I always make an example also with the social media work that I do. I just need to understand the policies and processes so that I'm not getting myself into trouble, compliance issues, all of those things. So just to make sure that you are in good standing, understand the culture. How do things work here? How do people communicate? How do they engage each other? How do they interpret success? How do they interpret development and growth? So those are the different things that you need to consider, and I think you'll have a much better experience if you have understanding of those different things. So they also have don't seem uninterested or disengaged. It's a tricky one, because in as much as you don't want to make work your life, but you really want to pour into the different areas of your life, and your work life is part of it. You spend 8 hours of your day, depending on whether you're full-time, contracting, whatever it might look like, but you spend a lot of your hours in your work. So it's really important to be engaged and involved in the work that you're doing. And I think it also just speaks to job satisfaction. If your environment is conducive to a positive and healthy environment, and you find purpose also in your work, then you can find yourself being more engaged and interested in the work that you're doing. And another way to just make that a better experience for you to be engaged is to participate in the different initiatives that are happening. If there's a workshop happening somewhere and people need help, offer your assistance, especially if you have, time to spare. Definitely look into those different ways, because it says a lot about you as well as an individual, as an employee, as a professional. That work for you is not just delivering and going home, but you're also just creating a healthy environment and a healthy balance between yourself and work. And that says a lot in terms of your brand. I know some people don't like talking about people as brands, but you do have a personal brand. So being engaged and interactive at work can help you have a better relationship with the work environment and your colleagues as well. So they also say, do be attentive and responsive. So that's basically practicing good listening skills, applying yourself, and interpreting things in a good way, in a professional way. I'll also just say here, it's being respectful of your colleagues, being respectful of the people above you, like respect people's titles, people's roles, people's knowledge and experience that they have, and also just collaborate, come together, have an understanding that people have different skill sets. You can leverage off of different people to improve on your work that you're trying to deliver. So just be attentive, be responsive, be respectful, and that could, make the work environment much better for you and for others as well. They also have don't participate in workplace gossip. It can be enticing, but try to remove yourself from that. There's things that we can talk about that's fun and banter, but when we start dragging people's names and painting them negatively to other people, because that's the bad part, is that now people have a negative perception of a person because you've said something about them. So let's try and avoid office gossip and just engage in more positive and uplifting conversations. Yeah, that's really important. So they say, do set a professional tone. So we are in the workplace, and there are certain, like we've mentioned before, certain culture that this organization operates. So there's a professional tone that aligns to that culture. So whether it's from the way that you dress, the way that you communicate, the way that you engage, I would also just say, though, don't lose your personality. Like, don't lose the person that you are. If you're a bubbly person and you engage work in a very positive, a very high excitement way, don't lose that. Obviously, read the room. Some meetings don't need you to be bouncing off the walls, but read the room, but have a professional tone, but don't lose yourself in the process. I think it just makes you enjoy work more if you know that you can deliver in a way that you're comfortable with, you're most effective with, because you have people who are very staunch, very formal in their approach, and then you have people who are more creative, more light-hearted, and that helps them be more effective. So find that professional tone, what it is, what works for that particular space, but don't lose yourself in the process. Another one they have is be inclusive of all employees. So that is applicable at different levels. So at a high level organization, you want the company to be able to hire different skills, hire people with different mindsets, skills, because that contributes to the overall effectiveness and productivity of the company. For a manager, they have to look at the different skills within the team, how people receive feedback, how they perform, what's productivity to them. So that's being inclusive of different behaviors, skill sets. That's really important. And then as colleagues, being inclusive of different people. That, oh, this person works this way, and this person responds this way to certain stimulus. So be inclusive of everybody. People work differently, and I think the beauty of having all of these different personalities, all of these different skills coming together, is that you can have such a high performing organization, and you know that you have a person who can respond when this comes, you have this type of person who can respond. So leverage off of the different skill sets and uniqueness of people. They also have don't exaggerate your abilities, and this is an interesting one because when you are applying for a role, obviously you don't want to undersell yourself, but the trap that often people find themselves in is that they've sold themselves too high and they're not able to deliver that. So it's really important to have that transparency and vulnerability with your manager to say that, okay, my cap is here. Obviously, we have stretch goals. We are here to develop and improve ourselves, but don't oversell to the point where you find yourself being burnt out or find yourself not being able to perform and always having to be rescued and pulled up a bit. So have that conversation, and just I think it's really important for us to step away from the perception that we have to be perfect. We have to be we can't do any wrong. It's okay. Mistakes happen. We try not to have them because they cost money, but we're learning, we're growing, we're improving individually, so, but also as a team. We have all of these different people coming together. Things are bound to clash and all of that. So just be realistic with your abilities, communicate those, and also be willing to stretch yourself to improve. And I think it's all part of performance management as well. Like, what gaps do you see, and how do you think you can improve them? So the last one they have is do remain authentic. And I think this goes back to the one where I say, like, don't lose yourself. You have a personality, and the likelihood that they've selected you to be part of this team is because of the personality that you've shown. So don't lose that. Be authentic, be original, bring ideas. It's not a bad thing. Your idea not being considered is not a bad thing, but you're just putting things out there to say, here's another way that we can think about it, here's another way that we can do it. And sometimes it needs that push. Organizations need that push for somebody else to say, okay, we've been doing this way for 50 years. How about we consider this? So be authentic to yourself, be true to yourself. And I think with that, you'll be sure to really enjoy your career. So guys, those are some of the do's and don'ts from Kinsley Son. I hope they give you something to think about and they're applicable in your space as well. Definitely something that applies to me. Do let me know in the comment section which one resonated with you. Really looking forward to your comments. Let me know if there's any other information that you would like for me to share. But thank you so much guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. Once again, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and to tell a friend that Espasha has a channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.